humans will not be replaced by AI, but humans who do not use AI will be replaced by human who used AI, including also sales. A typical salesman will think that, oh, as long as I can give more discount, then I believe the business is going to be better. That's a wrong mindset. So it's really understand, in this difficult situation, you need to understand more about your customers. And like I mentioned earlier, it's not really looking at the primary, secondary, tertiary, but it's all now focusing on primary. So you want to help your customers to be more efficient with their expenses with your products. So you understand the problems proactively, understand the problems of your customers proactively, and then you offer the solution. That has driven the changes going in a extremely high speed, meaning that something that worked, for example, like 2 years ago, it could be something irrelevant today, because now people will prioritize for primary. Forget about secondary and tertiary, because of the purchasing power is getting weaker. The growth of the income compared to the growth of the expenses is much, much lower, because empathy is the fundamental. But of course, there are other factors that we need to take it into account to be successful. As a salesperson, you need to use the data. Now, every salesperson, they need to act as consultant.
Okay.
Rather than salesman. Consultant. You need to ask questions. You need to really understand. Salesperson who do not use AI will be definitely replaced by the salesperson that optimize or make benefits of AI.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hadir Southeast Asia podcast, the place when you going to search about the business and also the sales. And today's episode, we're going to talk about the sales strategy in these economic times. When this time feel like harder than before, people are way more careful with their money, and maybe a lot of sales method didn't work anymore today. To figure out that problems, I already have with me the professional that maybe have a lot of experience facing a lot of problem in sales, already spent decades with dealing problem with sales. And I have with me Mr. Patrick Simanjuntak. Good afternoon, Mr.
Hello, good afternoon, Alia.
Good afternoon, sir. Is everything okay?
All is good, and thank you for inviting me to this podcast.
It's also glad for me to have you here. Okay, so Mr., maybe to make the audience know you better, before we going to talk about the sales itself, maybe you can tell to us and also the audience, who are you and your background, maybe also your story?
Sure. Well, I will not make it in 20 minutes, I will try to make it like very short. So I believe sales is something that is very close to my heart, although I have performed various roles during my professional career. So basically, I started my career as a credit card salesman.
Okay.
In one of the multinational banks in Indonesia. That was around 97 to 99. And then, to make the long story short, and then in 2011, I was the sales director in one of the pharmaceutical companies until 2017, I was the president director or the CEO for another company. So I've been like in different companies and different industries. And like I mentioned to you before, although I have been performing not only sales, but also marketing, sales effectiveness, business unit lead, but then again, and of course the general management role. But for me, sales is the one function that is very close with my heart. So I'm glad to be here, regarding the topic of our podcast today.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Already be with me and all of the audience through this podcast. Maybe before we get into all the market stuff and also the sales stuff to dive, maybe I want to make all the audience know you better, maybe. Like, can you tell us a little about your story since like you tell me that you already be in the sales for maybe decades, and after that, now you are focused on coaching leaders,
yes,
if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
So maybe like you can tell to us why you moved from the multinational company to the coaching section. What do you think about it?
Interesting question. So basically, started my career, like I mentioned to you before, that was like late 90s until 2022. So that was like 29 years. I was in corporate life until there was one time in 2022, I believe that I want to be on my own.
Okay.
Yeah. And because, like I mentioned to you again earlier, that I believe sales basically is referring to people management, and that has always been something like my key interest or my passion lah, if we want to make it like most people use that term. So therefore, I believe that I would like to be in the to have a role as a coach, because my principle is leaders create leaders, not followers, and that should be a sales leader mindset supposed to be.
Okay. So, sir, we go back to your past experience, like you just tell to us.
Yeah.
Like you've been in the sales a long time, so must be you have seen plenty ups and downs about the economy and about the sales. So like maybe it's not just me, maybe the audience also curious about how it feels to you. Like, is it a lot of difference from from the sales in the past maybe 10 years ago or maybe 5 years ago with the sales right now?
The quick answer is yes. The changes have always been there. But the thing is, for the last 5 years, the changes happen drastically faster. With the technology, with the economic situation, with the geopolitical tensions, and again technology, that has driven the changes going in a extremely high speed, meaning that something that worked, for example, like 2 years ago, it could be something irrelevant today. What makes a salesman successful 3 years ago, it might be, or most likely, that's not going to work today with the one that I mentioned earlier. The changes have always been there, but at least for the last 5 years, the changes is like it's crazy. It's extremely rapid and uncertain and difficult.
So about the last 5 years that feel extremely different before before this time, maybe we go deep dive to what's happening in the market, sir. So maybe like the past or maybe the last 5 years, why it feels so extremely different? What do you think the customer POV about the market these days and maybe the last 5 years?
Okay, so let's look from the macroeconomic situation first.
Okay.
Yeah, since the last 5 years, I believe that the pressure is getting higher in terms of how you want to be competitive, how you want to be unique, and how you want to get the expansion even more aggressively. But at the same time, the pressure for the profitability is also something that is expected from the board or from the top management, regardless of the situation that we are facing. And I believe this is not something that is valid for Indonesia, but it's also valid for other regions. I give you one example. If 10 years back, people will be queuing, waiting for, hey, I really want to be assigned in Europe. I really want to be assigned to go to US. But you know what? US, Europe, I mean, for the multinational companies environment, the growth is either zero or minus.
Okay.
Because the source of growth is actually here in our region. And I'm not talking China, because China is already, like, everybody is already invested there since 10 years ago.
China is one thing.
Yeah, China is something different, yeah, for the 1.4 billion market with now very sophisticated business practices and so forth. It's getting more expensive also there. But now is really the days for India, for Vietnam. Yeah. But Vietnam, of course, is very small lah. And definitely Indonesia, 280 million population with the highest growth of middle class sector, which now, as we can feel now, the situation currently, it's not as sexy as before, yeah, because the situation is getting more difficult. So going back to your question, now, of course, the impact is with our sales team, yeah. Now people will prefer, basically, if we see the needs, primary, secondary, tertiary, and sometimes you can really play around with the secondary, meaning like iPhone. Yeah, iPhone is not definitely is not primary. Yeah, I mean, at least that's my traditional thinking.
Options.
Exactly, which people will queue for iPhone. But now, I'm not saying that people don't want to buy iPhone any longer, but the thing is, it should be like much more selected, because now people will prioritize for primary. Forget about secondary and tertiary, yeah, because of the purchasing power is getting weaker. The growth of the income compared to the growth of the expenses is much lower. So price sensitivity is getting extremely higher. So that's from the consumer's POV, like you mentioned. They want to prioritize for the primary needs. They really need to be efficient. But of course, at the same time, we need to consider also these generations, yeah. What is important for the generations X and Y is different with what is important for Gen Z. So it's very important to understand about the behavior. That's actually the impact for the sales professionals as well. Yeah. No, maybe I answered this too long. Yeah, but yeah, going
Okay.
back to you then.
So, regarding to your story and also the situation this time, is it these difficulties like impact to all the sales team, or is it just the sales team one and the professional is already facing it better on, or what? What do you think about it?
No, the quick answer, it is impacting everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody. I believe it's not even the salesman or sales managers, even the sales directors or VP sales, they are now in the, what do you call it? They are now in their meeting rooms, like cracking the questions such as, why our customers now are getting weaker in terms of purchasing power. Why now our customers are getting more and more price sensitive, meaning that if we increase the price only by 5% and then it will be impacted significantly to the sales and so forth. So it's a problem for everybody nowadays.
Okay, so maybe the sales is always have a relevance with the price, sir. So is the price still the main reason? Like maybe you have said before, like it impacted by a lot of things in this world, like geopolitical and maybe the another situation. So how like this sales team have to do with the price if regarding to the customer POV?
Well, Arya, I like your question. Of course, price is still one of the key factors, but definitely price is not the only factor. A typical salesman will think that, oh, as long as I can give more discount, then I believe the business is going to be better. That's a wrong mindset. I'm not saying, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that discount is not important or competitive price is not important. That's not what I meant. But what I'm saying is we have to make sure that competitive price or discount is not the only factor. Because if we want to do the business based on the price only, it will not be sustainable. Why? For example, me. Okay, I have this product. I give 5% discount. And you're the competitor. The following day, you will give 6% discount.
Okay.
And then, I see you give 6% discount. I give 7.5% discount. And so forth and so forth. It's just like eroding your profitability. So it is not sustainable. Until when you want to do that kind of price war? So what I'm saying is, we really need to think about what is the added value that we want to provide to our customers. It's easy to say, it's very difficult to do, but to be able to create that value for the customers, as a salesperson, we need to really understand our market. We need to really understand our customers. And when I say understand, meaning that we need to understand their problems. Because what we sell is the solutions, not really products, not really services, but solutions to your problems. But if you want to sell the solution, you need to understand the problem first, right? Yeah, maybe this sounds theoretical, but I believe along the way, our discussion, I'm happy to provide examples.
Okay, so it's not already we're talking about the price, but also the POV. Maybe the sales team have to understand. They have to understand the problems, and then they're trying to get the solution for them, for the customer. That's, I think, what I got about this. So
Sorry.
okay,
Because you're saying this, it's just popped up on my mind. I give you an example, yeah.
Okay.
Let's say I'm a salesman of EV, electric vehicle.
Okay.
And you're the customer. The traditional or conventional salesman will approach you like this. Ibu, I see your neighbor and your friends, they all already drive electric vehicle. Come on lah, Bu. You don't want to be like them. Otherwise, you're like, you're not like everybody, yeah. You already like late. That's the conventional or traditional sales.
Okay.
But with this difficult situation, the approach should be like this. Ibu, if I may ask, I understand that you have 2 cars. If I may ask, how much do you spend Pertamax and Pertamax Turbo every month for your cars? And then you will say this, you know what, Bu? My product here, if you have this kind of electric vehicle, you actually spend only 20% of the numbers of you mentioned. In addition to that, Bu, I received some information, although it is not confirmed yet, that in December the government will increase the price of gasoline. And one more thing, Bu, if you put the order for the electric vehicle this week, you will get additional 10% discount. Which approach do you think that is more positive for you?
Of course, the second one.
That's my point. So it's really understand, in this difficult situation, you need to understand more about your customers. And like I mentioned earlier, it's not really looking at the primary, secondary, tertiary, but it's all now focusing on primary. So you want to help your customers to be more efficient with their expenses with your products. So you understand the problems proactively, understand the problems of your customers proactively, and then you offer the solution.
Okay, sir, you just show us one of the example and easy to understand. Maybe if there's any theoretical things that maybe the salesperson always made a mistakes to sell this day theoretically, what about it, sir? Maybe regarding to the example you show us just now.
Again, I really like your question, and I actually once I made a LinkedIn post about this topic.
Okay.
The most common mistake is actually your question is about the most common mistake, and I actually see this as the most fundamental factor of sales. And the answer is about empathy.
Okay.
Yeah. So the thing is, that is like the most important factor of every successful salesperson, that you need to be empathy. Empathy meaning that you need to be able to put your feet into your customer's shoes. It's like what the example earlier. You need to understand their problems, you want to help them, and you want to give solutions to the problems. And the most common mistake is, which is very human also, you want to push your agenda. Buy our products. Come on, buy our products. I don't really want to know about your problems, but I just want you to buy our products. Buy my products. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
That is not empathy at all, right? So you need to be able to put your feet into others' shoes, understand their problems, be empathetic about it, and then give solutions.
Okay, so about the empathy, from your point of view, is it kind of the method that already being applied with a lot of salesperson this day?
This is the thing. Let's say, Alia, if you go to any sales training everywhere, globally, there is a classic theory which is called mirroring.
Okay.
Mirroring meaning like this. If I see you as my customer, you look professional, right? You look neat. Then I will see you, I will also look professional. I will also wear a tie, for example, like mirroring, yeah. And then if you're like, casual, and then you make jokes sometime, then the salesperson also need to be, be casual also. That is something classic, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the empathy was a kind of thing that the salesperson must keep in their mind to change their method, maybe, to sell any products or services this day to the customer. Get to know to their problems, and then they put the empathy to them. So, do you think the empathy is like the only thing that they have to focus on, or maybe other thing that they have to focus?
The answer is no, because empathy is the fundamental. But of course, there are other factors that we need to take it into account to be successful. I mean, as a salesperson, you need to use the data.
Okay.
Yeah. Data, for example, like data about how competitive is your product compared to your competitors, and if you want to give discount, to what extent that you want to give the discount to ensure that you secured your profitability. And besides data, you also need to make sure that you deliver what you promise. Yeah. Again, with the example of that EV car, yeah. Let's say you got the order, and then you will very confidently say, "Okay, Pak, don't worry, you will get your car Monday next week." But then the product is not available. You broke your promise. That's not good, because never promise what we cannot deliver, right? That's another fundamental about sales, yeah, about the execution. The other thing about sales is also referring back to our initial discussion during this difficult time. Now, every salesperson, they need to act as consultant.
Okay.
Rather than salesman. Yeah. Consultant. You need to ask questions. You need to really understand. You need to use technology. For example, let's say that I have an appointment to meet you on Tuesday. So make sure that since Friday last week, I will search for you. I will look at you from Google. I will find information about, your preferences, perhaps your hobby, perhaps your background, education. So when I meet you, I can talk with your language. I can understand about what you like or what you dislike. At least I have a picture about it, so that you will be ready and, give the solutions of your problems. Yeah.
Okay. It's getting too deep with the kind of the method that the sales team have to keep in their mind. So at the beginning, you have mentioned the sale is not about the products; it's about the value. So, for real, what does the selling value actually looks like this time? Maybe not all the sales team understand the value means.
Yeah.
So how do you explain about the value to the audience?
Well, thank you for your question. I mean, I think about last week I read this article, if I'm not mistaken, from McKinsey. Yeah. So they have this interesting term about the commercial or the salesperson nowadays. They need to be a value orchestrator. Oh, that's a big term, yeah. Value orchestrator. So going back to your question, value means that we need to understand that there is a shift, yeah. again, going back to the example about that EV car,
EV car.
Previously, typically the sales will use what we call benefit driven. If you buy my product and you will get this and this benefit. But now with this current situation, it is shifted from benefit driven to risk driven. I mean, this is not the exact words, but if you don't buy my car, then your expenses will getting higher and higher. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different approach. It's not benefit driven. It's risk driven. It's not really how to give you more benefits, but it's more like how you need to manage and minimize your risk.
Okay. So again, it's about the approach that has to be make it different from the sales people these days, sir. So other these the value that they have to understand, maybe it's about the trust. You have mentioned it before. Like, can you give other example about the trust, or maybe the theoretical about the trust and what they have to do with it?
Let me make this very bold, yeah. Trust I believe trust is the biggest word.
Okay. More than value?
Maybe they are brothers and sisters. I don't know. No, but what I'm saying is trust, you have to earn it. You, as a salesman, you cannot say, Ibu Alia, you can trust me. No. Trust is something that you have to prove. Bu, we have an appointment at 5 p.m. 4:55, I'm here. That's one way of it. Bu, your car will be ready tomorrow before Maghrib time. And then 5 p.m. the car is there delivered to your customer's home. With the serial of events, you walk the talk, then you earn the trust. It's not something that you give your business card and then you write there, you can trust me. No, it's not like that. So trust is something that you need to prove it over time. You need to give evidence. And of course, trust is very important for every salesperson, because trust is the reason for your customer to do repeat order. Yeah, of course, we want to have business which is sustainable, not one time.
Okay, sir. We go back to the sales team behavior, maybe, and it in their environment.
Yeah.
There might be a lot of pressure to them regarding to your
Not
context.
maybe, definitely,
There must
absolutely.
Absolutely a pressure, big pressure to them. So they maybe like have to try a lot of things until they get the trust maybe from the customer. So it's about maybe we go to the coaching session. Like what does the manager have to do to put maybe like motivate their team in the term with the like pressure, but also they have to understand the customer, and also this time have a lot of maybe like a hard time to sell something. It's like, what do you think about it? How to maybe coach the sales manager to build the team stable?
Yeah. Well, from the beginning, I think this is my favorite question.
Okay.
Yeah. No, because it relates to what I'm doing now. Yeah. I'm a certified growth leadership coach. So of course, I'm happy to talk about this, to share about this, not to teach, yeah, but to share about this. So I think coaching is getting more and more important. Why? Because to be able to face this difficult situation, we need to unlock the potential of every individual. And coaching is the process where the leader or the coach facilitate one individual to get their perspectives, ideas about how to solve problems. And when we put that in the sales context, just imagine that the ones who face the customers directly or the frontliners are the salesmen, not the sales managers, right? The sales managers, mainly they're in the branch office or in the head office, but the one who face directly with Ibu Alia is the salesman, right? So those guys who are in the field, they are the closest to the reality. So they should have ideas. They know the challenges, but of course, they know also about how to face those challenges. But the thing is, in traditional or typically, or the sales in the old days, the sales managers are like the generals. Go there, everybody go there. Stay, everybody stay. That will not work today. We have to empower our team. We need to involve them. We need to work together with them. And coaching process is one of the most effective ways for the leaders to, like you mentioned, motivate them, because we want to listen from them. People like to be listened, not only taking orders, but also share your ideas, understand your challenges, but then again involve them or empower them so that they can also give ideas about how to face those challenges. And in my actual experience, that works. During my days as the sales leaders, it is something common for me to go to the field directly and then just spend 2-3 hours with my team just to listen from them. And then in the conversation, I will ask, what do you think that we can do to make this customer order our products? What are the options? How do you think we should modify our promotion program? Just ask questions to them, and then they will, share with you. Yeah.
Okay, so sir, like what you just explained, I think, and the thing I have see in the actual, maybe in the actual environment of the team, maybe the sales teams, maybe there's a different or maybe a slight difference between the coaching and controlling, which maybe a lot of sales leader, sales manager, they don't realize that they aren't coach, but they, instead of coaching, they do controlling. What do you think about it? Is it like the common mistake they have to, the common mistake they already did?
Well, this is the thing. I will not say that this is wrong and this is right.
Okay.
I will not say controlling is wrong, coaching is right. No. But what I'm saying is like this. What we are talking here, Alia, is what we call people development topics. Yeah. We can develop people by 1, giving training. 2, mentoring. 3, consulting. 4, counseling. 5, coaching. I hope you're not getting confused.
No.
Okay. So those 5 are actually to develop others, to develop the team. Yeah, including to develop the sales team. But the thing is, these 5 options, we need to use the appropriate one at the right time.
Okay.
Yeah. When we are, for example, like, let's say that for the sales team, I think the most important momentum will be Q4, October, November, December, because we're going to close the sales, right? To close the year. Yeah. I don't really think coaching is the right time to do the right timing. Yeah. You just need to give orders. You go here, then you go there. Yeah. Yeah. When you talk about February or March or April, I'm just giving you illustration. So we need to understand which approach that we use at the right time with the right person. Yeah. So I don't want to say that controlling is bad, coaching is good. It's not like that. We just have like different way for different situation, which is that should be appropriate. Yeah.
Okay. Still about the people development, sir. Like you already manage a lot of people, like in your experience as a sales director. In every teams, there must be always either one or two salesperson that always able to deliver the goals.
Yes.
Maybe we call it like the top performers.
Yeah, the star.
The star.
Yeah,
okay, so
star performers.
what actually maybe the sales manager can build the team like that.
So your question is how a sales manager should develop stars.
Yes.
How? Oh, okay.
Maybe it could be like a tips for the audience.
Yeah, it's going back to what we discussed just now about we need to understand to use which methodology when.
Yes.
I give you one example.
Okay.
Let's say you're a fresh graduate and then you join an organization. You have zero experience. Of course, I need to equip you with training.
Okay.
And then after 6 months and maybe or maybe 1 year, I'll give you mentoring. And then maybe after 2 years time, when let's say that you're about to be promoted from single contributor to be a team leader, to prepare you for that, and I will give you coaching. You see, it's just, we need to understand about the needs of every individual so that we can make her or him a star. Yeah.
Okay, so is there any like the skills that you already seen it at the beginning, which one is the star and which one is maybe have to develop more, or just everybody is equal? What do you think about it?
No, it's number one. It's more to number one. Sometimes, well, I don't want to say that this is, I don't want to use the word instinct, yeah. But of course, I mean, I've been doing this for long, yeah, for more, yeah. So of course you sort of can have like catch that, oh, this someone has the potential. But the thing is, of course, typically a salesperson should like to interact with others. Yeah. I mean, it's very difficult to have someone who just want to be in front of a computer screen and to be a salesperson. Yeah, I'm not saying impossible, but it's difficult. Of course, you need to have this curiosity and you need to have that hunger also,
Yeah.
Hunger, achieve the target, get the bonus, that kind of ambition. And sales is also something, someone who are willing to take the risk, just to approach people and then talk to her or him. And, yeah.
Okay.
And enjoy the work, yeah? Enjoy the work. I think that's also important.
Maybe the one thing is not about the skills, but also the ambitions that build people.
The ambition and the grit, if you want to say it, the grit because if you are a salesperson, you will face rejections. And then if you face rejection, you try again. And then you get the rejection again, you try again. And then you get the rejection again, you try again. You need to have that kind of perseverance.
And maybe they will find out their answer.
But I don't want to simply say that, meaning that every rejection is actually the opportunity for you to learn.
Okay.
Yeah. You need to understand and you need to learn. Hey, I got this rejection. What can I improve in the future? And then you try again. And then you get the rejection. Okay, this time what are the learnings? And then you try again. And of course, when you try again, don't do the same mistake, yeah.
Okay.
And that's the responsibility of the managers,
Okay.
to develop the person.
And maybe lead the salesperson in the right tracks, maybe about their journey in sales. Sir.
Yeah, yes. But what I'm saying is, don't be too rigid also. What I'm saying is like this. Let's say that from salesman, typically the track is like this: salesman, and then supervisors, and then salesman, and then sales supervisor, and then team leader, and then assistant manager of sales, and then sales manager. That's the typically, right? But don't be too rigid like that. Maybe let's say you're a salesman for product A, and then you got promoted, but not as a supervisor, but as a senior salesman, but for product B, whereas product B has higher value. And then after that, you get the supervisor title. So you know what I mean? So it's not like, you have to be flexible also to see the opportunities, because if you want to go up, it's not necessarily like a straight line. You can still go up. Maybe you go up like this and you go like this. Yeah. Flexibility is also another thing that a good salesperson should have.
Okay, sir, before we actually end this discussion, maybe I would like to ask your opinion about the AI who has already affect a lot of scope of work, and maybe the AI will affect the sales teams too. What do you think about it?
I think this is good as the last question, yeah. 2 days ago, I watched this interview. Elon Musk was interviewed by The Economist. 1 hour, 15 minutes interview, and mostly talking about AI.
Okay.
And then he did make a statement which I do not 100% agree. Elon mentioned that by 10 years time, meaning 2036, humans will not have control because of AI. And now, let me take you back to the context of sales. I fully understand with the technology, especially AI, it's crazy, yeah, how it makes the revolutions of a lot of things. For example, like the proposal for a big client for a big project. Usually, in my time when I was a sales director or sales manager, I would spend like perhaps 1 week, yeah, to prepare. But now with AI, maybe about 1 hour, yeah, to make it extreme. Or the example that I mentioned to you before, I will meet this VIP customer, Ibu Alia, and then I can just use Gemini or what, and then who is Ibu Alia in Jakarta, and then But now I'm asking you, Alia, when we do negotiation of $1 million project, how AI could do negotiation with the CEO of that company, for example? Or you mentioned about trust earlier.
Yes.
Trust of the relationship. To what extent AI can build relationship with our VIP customers? I don't know. I might be wrong, but I would say that I believe there are some things that cannot be replaced by AI. Again, I might be wrong. I might be right. But one thing that I am sure, which I agree, Elon was not the one who mentioned who issued this statement, but I understand this one of the professor of Harvard Business School saying that humans will not be replaced by AI, but humans who do not use AI will be replaced by human who used AI, including also sales. Yeah, salesperson who do not use AI will be definitely replaced by the salesperson that optimize or make benefits of AI. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, absolutely answer. And also it become a good news for the salespeople because they will not affected totally by the AI, but they have to adapt with the AI and the technology this day. That's what I think about your answer, sir.
Yeah. And not only AI, yeah, but the thing is, the technology and the changes, the situation now, I would like all of us to embrace it. Yeah. Let's not complain about it, but how to see this as, yeah, this is the new. I mean, if back then during the COVID time, there's a term of the new normal, right? So with this difficult situation, let's not label it as difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the situation now.
We have
Yeah,
to face it.
we have to face it. We have to adjust. We have to learn new skills. We need to be open and to have humility to learn from anybody, even learn from you. Yeah. Because the Gen Z, they are like very good in using all the technologies and so forth, right? So, um, learn from anybody. Yes, you
Okay.
need to be open. Yeah. Open mindset.
Okay, sir. Maybe to end this discussion,
Yeah.
I will ask you to give the audience one advice
Yeah.
about sales.
Yeah, I would use my last statement that we need to be open. We need to have an open mindset. We need to have an open mindset to learn from anybody, to accept that what made us successful 2 years ago, not necessarily that is still working today. To be open to learn new skills. I'm also still learning a lot of things. I'm still learning every time. To be open to accept that this is the situation and how can we manage it? How can we be adaptable to it? How to build resilience to keep doing new things, keep learning, and to be, so you have to be positive. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much,
You're most
Mr.
welcome.
Patrick, for all of your insight. Hopefully, it could be a good insight, and also the audience can learn from anything you said to us in the discussion.
Yeah.
That we have to face it in these conditions, and they maybe will more motivated with what you said in this podcast. Okay, so thank you for everyone who's watching this podcast and this episode. Hopefully, you have a great time and also get a lot of insight and make you day by day gets better since now. Thank you and see you on the other episode. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.